and he's also going to be saving up a battery and deploying that battery to try to defend as much as possible.
Hello everyone and welcome back to AC. We're here at Watkins Glen today. I'm joined by John as always, who is my co-commentator for this season. And I already mentioned we're at Watkins Glen. This is round 4 of the AC season for season 3. And it's been pretty interesting so far, in the sense that attendance has been a bit of an issue. But we've also managed to get some pretty exciting races in there anyways. And these Indycars are still as fun to drive as ever. We're just waiting for the first few drivers to start crossing lines so we can jump on board with them once they go onto the timing screen, and then we'll start showing you around the track with these drivers. And let me please welcome John, and hello, thank you for coming.
Hi. Yeah, this is a really cool track. I think it was last round we did Sonoma, and Sonoma was another US track that, IndyCar, NASCAR uses, and these aren't very similar tracks. Sonoma doesn't have too high speeds. There's not really any crazy straights, especially the track orientation that we used, and it had a lot of elevation. This track does have elevation, but it's very gradual, and when you're racing this course, you can't really tell when you're going up, when you're going down for the most part. And this is a very, very, very fast track. It's the whole first sector is almost all the way flat out, and it's these big sweeping turns. Some of them are even banked, and it's kind of a testament to how insane these cars are that they can take these turns at these speeds. In real life, you would be pulling ridiculous amount of G's on these turns, and then we have the back straight that is interrupted by a very fast chicane, and then we have a very, very long, almost a 180 degree turn that takes you into a sequence of big sweeping turns as well. There aren't really any super tight turns on this track. You're just kind of constantly going very fast, so you don't really get a chance for a mental break on this track except for maybe your pit stops. So I think this is going to be a really exciting race. Like you said, the overtaking opportunities are few and far between, but it's not impossible, especially with some of the braking zones in the final sectors. So I think we'll have a really good race on our hands today.
Yeah, for sure. We're just riding on board with Timo there, so showing you how the track is a little bit while John was talking us through it. And you see it's very flowing and not too many hard braking zones, mainly just mid-speed corners, and it's really fun to drive. The drivers love driving it, but it'll be interesting to see how they will fare in the dirty air against each other, because that will have an effect on how they drive this track. And here we are right now looking at Medved, who is running his beautiful Twingo livery. I'm not being biased or anything. He has a Renault Twingo in real life with the same color. So if you look at the back of the winglets, you can see a picture of his Renault Twingo there. You see his Renault Sport sponsoring. And yeah, I think that's also another great thing about this league, is all the custom liveries we have. A lot of creativity from the drivers today. Well, not today, but throughout the whole season. And there's another driver, Ruben van der Hudding. He's made an absolutely amazing livery, but he's not on the time sheet yet, so I can't go to him. Let's go to Antoine Olive, he's been in basically all the races so far. He's signed up as a reserve, but he's driven pretty much all of them. But that's because he wasn't confident in the IndyCar. He wasn't sure if he was able to make every round as well, and he wasn't sure if he was able to drive the tracks. But today, he is here currently about just under 2 seconds off the P1 spot, which is not too bad considering he's not really used to this car, or he's not really driven this track much. But it's pretty good so far. You can see his beautiful quad-colored beer livery car, as he likes to call it, with the different beer brands that he enjoys. A bit more obscure than the normal ones. So you have your La Chouffe on the yellow one, and I think you have a Swedish one on the blue that a few Swedish people have pointed out. But yeah, it's very nice to see indeed. And let's see, Van den Hudding, here we go. He's set his time. He's currently in P6, 1.7 tenths off of the lead, and you see that beautiful Rebellion livery. I'm going to try and get a different look at it, because that is absolutely amazing. If you look at the detail on it, you can see the textures there as well in the livery. Ruben is, of course, our in-house livery designer, basically. he's made liveries for other sim races before, such as for Rudy van Buren for iRacing. He's made quite a lot of iRacing liveries as well, and it definitely shows in this Rebellion livery. It's absolutely beautiful. But he's on a pretty good lap so far. I don't know if he's getting held up a little bit by the car in front of him. I'm not quite sure who that is. I think that might be Leglav, or some people might know him as Shane Power. But yeah, they might just be giving each other some slipstream or trying to drag each other across the track. But yeah, not so much happening so far in qualifying. Just Timo Braun being half a tenth faster than everyone else.
I was about to say Timo Braun getting another session best while we were looking at Ruben's amazing livery, and it looked like Leglav just got a personal best. He's currently P6 now, and yeah, Timo Braun, Levi Shanto, and Sam Chumley right at the top of the board, where we do see them often. We also have Medved P5. And right now I think we only have 9 people with times set. So the times will keep on rolling in. And yeah, this is just a very, very fast sweeping track. And, you know, during qualifying, they do have to try and strategize when they want to push so that they don't get caught up with other drivers that are also on a flying lap. Just like we saw with, I think it was Ruben.
Yeah, it's the beauty of qualifying with not so many drivers. They can sort of find their own rhythm and their own space, but they all decide to drive decently close to each other. Actually, if you look on the mini-map, they're all within like 3-4 seconds of each other. And Sam goes a little bit deeper in that corner, goes a little bit wide, it might cost him a little bit of time. Yeah, he's going into the final sector now. I'll just quickly see what he's able to do into the, I think, considered the hairpin on the track. It's quite a fun blind hairpin. You can just get on the throttle really quickly and absolutely send it on the exit. Let's see what he does into this right hand corner. It just slows down, goes down into third gear, gently on the throttle again, all the way up, maximizing the track to its full potential, braking at the 200 meter board, turning the car in, goes a little bit deep, but he manages to get the car rotated a little bit slightly on exit, but he catches it as well. I don't know if this is the cleanest lap we've seen from Sam, but it's definitely is how you drive the Indycars. You have to drive them aggressively for it to be fast. He's rounding the last few corners now, this penultimate corner down to the start-finish straight. What is he able to do? Is he able to improve his lap time? It looks like he's able to do, but just by a tenth, so he stays in P3 for now. But it's only 2 tenths off Zanto, who's in P2, so it's not a bad showing at all. Let's have a look at what Zanto is doing at the moment, because I'm interested to see how...
Right now he's currently half a second off of the leader.
Yeah,
so if he does want to improve this lap, he's going to have to pick the pace up a little bit. We do have 5 minutes left of qualifying, so time is running out.
Yeah, I mean, it's about a 1 minute 25 lap time, or 24 as we see here. Timo even dipping into the 123s. So they still have a good 3 or 4 laps left in them, but that does not include the outlap if they do run out of fuel. So I mean, that is including the outlap. And here we have Levi Janto.
Oh, there we go.
Crosses the line, instantly resets to pits, but he crosses the line with a 123.8, so that beats out Timo Braun. Timo Braun just starts his flying lap now, so is he able to get that single tenth he needs to get in front of Levi Zanto again, or is it going to be Levi Zanto on pole as opposed to Timo, who was on pole last race around?
Yeah, I guess he saw his relative and said, all right, I got to get this job done, and he did it. He picked up the pace and got that job done, overtaking Timo for P1. But we see Timo on a very strong lap so far. So it's going to be a fight between these guys to see who can come out on top for qualifying.
Yeah, for sure. And in the first sector, Timo was only half a tenth slower than his best lap, but that's definitely still room for improvement. If he improves by 2 tenths on this lap after that, then that's still enough for the provisional pole position. As you see, he's still that half a tenth slower, so he really needs to find something in the final sector. Maybe he made a mistake on his best lap, but it seems like he's being very consistent at the moment. We'll have to wait and see what he's able to do, but it's definitely going to be very close to Levi Zantos' lap time.
Yeah, and Levi is also back out on track for 1 or 2 more tries before the end of qualifying as well, so we'll see what happens there too. We see Timo rounding the bend.
What's he able to do? And he crosses the line. It's 2 tenths slower this time around, so that's not an improvement from Timo. And he spins off into the barrier and crashes, and I think that's more in frustration rather than than a mistake. He knows he's messed up. He knows he only has about 1 lap left to try and make a lap count, and knowing Timo, he's gonna not be too happy with himself in this one. Ruben van der Hooding has made his way up to P5 with a 1:25.2, a decently respectable lap time, only 1.3 seconds off the lead. But I just can't get enough of this livery. It's absolutely amazing to look at.
Definitely. The time and effort that these guys take into their liveries is really special. You know, you can see that they really try to bring their personality out into those and make them, you know, unique or replicate ones in real life that they really admire.
Yeah, for sure, and yeah, it also it's sort of a personalization. It just sort of you can reflect your character in the car, and that also means, like, I signed out of this series. I was driving here, but I decided to become a broadcaster instead because I just didn't have the pace or the time to practice. But I feel kind of bad because I created a livery for it, and I really want to showcase my livery to everyone. But well, hey-oh. This is just as good, and I get to see it from the outside and have less stress about driving, so that's always good fun. Let's have a quick look at Pixel, as some people might know as or Forrest McCormack. He usually does a little bit better than this, not usually at the back, but he might not have had too many laps to practice. I know he's been a very busy man recently, so hopefully he's able to improve his lap time on this lap.
Yeah, when it comes to traffic in qualifying too, that could be a blessing or a curse. You know, if you catch up with traffic on these bends like we see Forrest McCormack doing right now, thankfully that person he caught up with let him go by, but you know, they could really be a hindrance to you on your fastest lap. But if you catch up with someone on a straight, let's say the start-finish straight, right as you're finishing a qualifying lap, that could be hugely beneficial to you, as you can get that toe behind them. It's about 1 second behind the person that you start getting a benefit, and you really start getting a benefit about 4/10 or 6/10 behind them. So, you know, if you catch up with someone right at the last second, that could be actually very beneficial to you. Just a little stroke of luck.
Yeah, and there's obviously no teams here in this series, so it's all solo drivers, and sometimes they do help each other. Let's see what he's able to do as he crosses the line, and I think that might have been an outlap maybe, because his timer reset, didn't say anything, and now he is starting his flying lap again. But it looks like Levi Santo, while this has all happened, has improved his lap time by even more, so he's on to a 23.7. Will Timo Braun be able to better this lap time?
Here he is coming across the start-finish for the last time, and he has not been able to.
No, and he does the exact same thing again, crashes in frustration, and that is not the way to do it. I know he will be fuming in that car. Him and Santo are the two championship contenders at the moment. Santo, I still believe, leads by like 2 points or something, but it's very close between them all. And let's have a look at McCormack. His leg lap actually has caught up to him a little bit on this lap, so that's going to hamper leg lap's lap time a little bit. McCormack not doing too great at the moment. Maybe leg lap might go for a move, but I don't think he will. I think he's just going to stay behind, because going for a move will definitely ruin both their lap times, whereas getting stuck behind will only ruin his own. And I think in the sportsmanship manner, it's best to just to stay behind and accept defeat and know that you should have just giving yourself some more space before starting your quad lap. But he's riding pretty close. You see Ruben in the background there as well. This is not going to help him either, as he's pretty close to these cars. But here comes Forrest McCormack. Is he able to improve his lap time? He crosses the line. He does improve his lap time, but it's not enough to catch up to the other guys ahead. And that is a little bit of an unexpected result, to be honest. I thought he would have a bit more pace. I remember doing practice sessions with him before where he definitely seemed to have more pace than that. But anyways, Ruben van der Hooding, P5. Only guy is still on track at the moment, and we're going to cross over to...
Well, Timo Braun is still in the barrier currently.
Timo Braun, yes, sitting in that barrier, being joyful as ever. Let's jump to the helicam. Have a little look at the track, and it says, I've just noticed the I Love New York branding.
Yeah, it's kind of plastered all over the place. Gotta love these U.S. tracks.
Oh really? Is that a thing they do with the New York tracks? Sorry, US tracks? Is plaster this sort of stuff around?
a lot of crazy branding. You kind of see it. Where is it? Australia, Bathurst. Bathurst has a lot of branding up in the hills too,
Yeah, that's true.
the mountain area.
I mean,
Yeah.
sponsorships are nothing new to tracks. I've just never seen what I would consider as souvenir merch sponsored at a track. But okay, it's kind of fun to see, I guess. But
I think Watkins Glen does. I think it is in New York.
I assume it would. Otherwise, this would make no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, great track to drive on. The drivers really love it. And we are in. I think when is it? We have to reset the pits. I keep forgetting.
Yes.
But here we go.
After the 2-minute 50.
Yeah, here we go with the helicam. You see it flying over the grid. It's quite cool actually. Just we finally have a helicam with this track. Look at the grandstands a little bit as well. Some of the background and scenery is a very nice track indeed. And if I hit drive and I hit back to pits, will it work now? No, it doesn't. I have to wait until the end. So that basically means it's locked onto my car now. So you can see, you might see, there's 3 cars there that don't look like Indy cars. We have the Abarth 500, which is me and John, as you have to have a car in order to spectate in AC. And then we have the beautiful safety car, driven by the man himself, Vito. And he's also the one that calls if there is a need for a safety car or not. So if a yellow flag comes up and a safety car is deployed, that is Vito calling it out. And then he will be the pace car or safety car. And what also happens is at the start of every lap, he will be leading the pack and taking them on a outlap per such. And then at the end of the sector 3, he will drive into the pit lane, and it's whoever is leading will be able to dictate the pace, and they can go whenever they want. It will be drivers side by side with each other, so an IndyCar start, as we know it. And yeah, it's a really good fun way to start the race, to be honest, as these cars are not good at launching at all. They bog down very easily, so rolling starts is much better for them. And you see the safety car there turning on the lights, and it looks absolutely beautiful for the stream. I bet you Vito is dancing right now just to say hi to all the fans in that car.
Yeah. No, we just kind of threw these Abarths in here just to spice the race up a little bit. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so something that we'll also be seeing in this race is pit stop strategy. Always something that's very important and sometimes overlooked a bit. Is how are they going to deal with their pit stops? Since they're all technically top 10, they all have to start with the race tire that they qualified in, and they have to start the race with that tire. So we have the primaries, and then we have the alternates. It's looking like most people are starting with primaries. We have, I think, only 2 people starting with 3 people starting with primaries, and so that itself is going to dictate a lot of interesting strategy when it comes to how this race is going to be driven, because we might see undercuts, we might see stuff like that that will really shake up the got some slow starts in the back. That'll really shake up the results, since this isn't a super overtake track. You can always try and gain some positions in the pits.
Yeah, for sure. And a strategy, I think, will be a huge play here. A lot of drivers were wondering if these alternate tires were able to last the full stint of the fuel. It turns out it doesn't, so they might be going for a shorter fuel stint at the start, and then afterwards deciding to change tires to the primaries and go for full fuel stint, or just gambling it with the safety car, because he is out there sliding around, and you can see that beautiful livery made specifically for this league by Vito. He's drifting it around everywhere. He's a quite an aggressive safety car driver like that, but he does keep it on track most of the time. And yeah, it's a good feature to have, I think, and it really adds to the fun of driving this series.
Yeah, I agree. I think safety car, it's not something that's built into the game, but it's just that one more level of realism and professionalism that you can see in these races. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, it really is, and it's good fun as well. I've driven that car, and it is a fun car to drive. And Vito, I know he likes his job. Even though last race we didn't call the safety car once, I still look at him sliding everywhere. He's having a hell of a time. But anyways, the cars are piling up to be 2x2. Vito is trying his... Well, it's quite early they're doing that. I don't know why they're doing it so early. But alright, I guess. But Vito is sending it around the corner. Let's see, is he going to be able to survive this lap? Hopefully he does, as he comes into the pit lane now to start at the start, well, sit at the start finish straight. There he goes. Come into pit lane he comes. Let's jump back to the grid, shall we? Side by side, these Zanto and Timo Braun, as they're already off. Zanto boosts the throttle as soon as they round the last corner. Timo up on the inside with the slipstream, trying to defend a bit from Romsa behind him actually, and it seems like so far all of them have managed to get through turn 1 properly. Let's jump to the helicam, see if there's more stuff happening in the background. Romsa trying to make his way up the inside of Timo Braun. Is he able to make the move stick? It doesn't really seem like it, because next corner is on Timo's inside. He stays ahead for now, so Braun second, Romsa third, Van den Hooding up to fourth, so he's made his way past Chumley, and they're going 3 wide into the chicane. Yeah. Oh, there's a spin in the background. Leglaff, I believe that is Leglaff off. He has had contact with Olive, maybe. I'm not quite sure if that was Olive, but there definitely was a spin there. So Leglaff has already spun in the start of this race. I don't think that's enough to warrant a safety car, but into the barrier goes Pixel, rejoins the track, and there's a huge crash at the hairpin. And that is Chumley and Pixel, and I'm surprised if that doesn't warrant a safety car. That is
yep, safety car is out.
And it is deployed now. And I can't see it. Why can I not see it? I'm going to quickly try and see why it is not. There you go. Safety car is out. Safety car is deployed. So that is race 1, safety car. Sorry, not race 1. Lap 1, and the safety car is deployed. So that is going to allow Pixel and Chumley to come in, repair their cars, and reset the strategy. However, they are not allowed to pit on the lap the safety car is called. They have to cross the line once while the safety car is out before they can pit.
And that is a very specific rule that has been, how should I say, forgotten about for the first round of this season. A lot of drivers got issues with that because the first safety car, and they immediately, like, a lot of drivers came into the pits and had to suffer the consequences. So I think they know better now. But yeah, hopefully... yeah, they have to do 1 full lap under the safety car before they're allowed to come in.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if they have to do a full lap under the safety car. They just have to do... They have to cross the line while the safety car is deployed.
Yes.
We'll have to see if Chumley and McCormack decide to come in this lap. If they come in this lap, I assume it's legal. If they don't, they probably think they have to do 1 more lap.
I think it is just safety car's out, and you have to cross the start finish. I believe that you're right.
Yeah. We'll have to see. It's a little bit of a grey area sometimes with this rule book. I don't really understand it myself, but I'm sure the drivers understand it more than I do. But anyways, we'll have to wait and see. But Zanto leading Braun. A little bit of a battle between those two, but Braun never really was there. Van den Hooding from P5 up to P3. We saw them going 3 wide into the chicane, and Timo was the one who got ahead, but Van den Hooding up the inside of Romsa. Good start from him. Romsa fell behind a little bit. It was looking a bit racy with Timo, but had to concede the position at the start. Olive up to P6. Visser, who doesn't qualify, P7. And then Ionidas, new driver for this league, P8. You see him in the background with the orange and blue McLaren logo. And then obviously we have the spinners of Leglaff, McCormack and Chumley, who are P10, 11 and 12. Sorry, P9, 10 and 11.
Yeah, that big amount of contact, just bringing those guys straight to the back. Pretty unfortunate. It looks like we're going to need another lap of safety car before he comes in.
Yep.
Probably to allow some pit stops.
Yeah, he does go for another lap, and McCormack goes into the pits, and Chumley stays out.
So I guess he was able to save himself from damage or something like that. But Forrest McCormick is coming into the pits.
Yeah, so he goes into the pits here, and
Right next to the two Barths.
Indeed, he is. So I wonder if that is one of them misunderstanding the rules. But Chumley is the league admin. He has not pitted, so maybe he knows. Maybe he needs to extend his stint as much as possible in order to make the next one-stopper. That might be what he's going for. But then
Possibly.
surely he would pit now, get onto the prime, start his long stint, and then have a quick stint at the end. So McCormack is now out back on track. Let's go on board with him. You see he is on the prime tire, and that probably means he's got full fuel as well as he hits the grass a little bit. But safety car is in this lap actually, so McCormack needs to do the best he can to catch up to this safety car queue. If he doesn't catch up, that is going to be quite annoying for him, but looking at the pace he has right now, he just needs a few more corners. I think he'll be able to do it.
Hopefully he knows that the safety car is going in. 16 seconds. Alright, yeah. Slowly. It's closing down.
Yeah, I think he might just make it. It seems like he can see the end of the queue at the end of the straight, and it looks like he will catch up to him with a few corners to go. So Chumley could have actually pitted and changed his strategy, but I think he decided not to. And this might cost him a little bit.
And there he is, right at the last second.
Yeah. So, safety car coming back into pits. We're going to have a well, not a restart, but it's a single foul now, so it's not double foul. All the cars lining up to get going. Levisanto obviously leading the pace. He's weaving about, getting the tires in, and he sets the car free. Off they go. Ruben already trying to go up the inside of Braun. It's green flag now, so he's allowed to overtake. He decides to slot back in line behind him. So no one has overtaken anyone yet. It's a little bit off track. There goes Romzo. Behind him, Medved seems to be in a pretty solid P4 position as Leglaf overtakes Ionidas into the second corner, and he is up to P7 now, right behind Olive. But battle's not over now between Medved and go ahead.
Van Hutting overtaking Timo Brown. That was wow, that was pretty good. I didn't actually see the overtake, but that was apparently very safe because they're still full force right now.
Yeah, off track goes Leglaf a little bit, almost breezing into the wall, but he just manages to stay out of it as it stands with Van der Hutting up to P2. Timo Braun, he will be fuming behind him in that car. He will want to get past as quickly as possible as Chumley makes his way past Ionidas. He's managed to jump 3 cars already, so he definitely has some pace in him yet again. He's going to try and surmount that charge onto Antoine Olive. Let's have a look at Ionidas and Leglaf. Oh, Ionidas straight into the back of Chumley. And that is 2 cars off. Ionidas spins around. Chumley is going to pick up quite a lot of damage from that one. And I think that's going to be a classic report right there. Chumley will not be happy with this one. Safety car is not deployed. So the safety car driver deems that to be not enough to be a safety car. Which, to be honest, fair enough. It's just 1 car that goes off really. And he seems to have recovered again. But yeah, that... not the kind of driving we want to see.
Definitely not. Yeah, that was quite a rough interaction between those two. So I'm sure we'll hear a few words about that after the race.
Yeah,
we see comfortable gaps starting to form between everyone. Chumley into the pits.
Yeah, so Chumley has gone in to repair his damage now, and I think he's starting his long stint. That is unfortunate for Chumley, but Van der Hutting, Timo Braun and Romze are having a pretty good battle here for P2 at the moment. I think Timo has a little bit better pace than Van der Hutting, but Van der Hutting is doing a pretty good job so far of defending Timo behind him. The charging BMW against the Rebellion car. Beautiful liveries, I must say. And we see Romze in the background with his custom Christian Lundgaard numbered car there as well. Let's see, there's only other battles. Seems Olive, Medved and Leglaf seem to have a little battle of their own as well, but we'll have to jump between these two and see what happens. It is Watkins Glen after all. It's kind of a difficult track to overtake, but Timo Braun, he could use a push to pass soon on the start-finish straight and try and get close enough to overtake Van der Hutting.
You see, Levi's getting quite a comfortable gap between him and the rest of the cars. It seems that Ruben and Timo are kind of in a pack of their own, with Rumsey not too far behind them, and then we have the rest of the cars.
Yeah, it seems like into the chicane is the best place to make a move, and up the inside goes Timo Bronning and makes his way past Van den Hooding, and he goes back into P2 position. Van den Hooding has no way to defend that. Timo, with the overspeed from turn 1 into the chicane, manages to make his way past Van den Hooding. He goes back down to P3, he does, and now he has to defend from Romser, who's right up behind him. He lost a few tenths in turn 1, but he's right back there, ready to take that P3 position away from Van den Hooding. Great overtake there from Timo.
And Leglaf, at the same time as the Timo overtake, Leglaf overtook Olive right before that fast chicane after the straight, and it was just a classic outbrake maneuver. Also very clean, very well done from Leglaf.
That seems to be the overtaking spot, doesn't it? With enough slipstream, if you can keep close enough in turn 1, with enough slipstream, you have enough to get past. Even with the push to pass button they can use. You can only use it 10 times though, so you have to be a bit careful how much you use it. We have 38 laps here. But that is the way to do it on this track, it seems. And in the background, who's that pulling off? That's Visser. He's gone into the wall, so Visser has parked his car on the track. Don't really know what's going on there. Maybe a little bit of a technical issue, but let's have a look at Leglaf as he's very close to Medved now. Could he be pulling off the lead? So Visser's gone to pits. I wonder what's happened there, but here we go. Leglaf against Medved, close to the outside this time, so Leglaf defending, Medved defending the inside, but is it enough? Is Leglaf going to get the overspeed?
He's got a little bit. Oh! It looks like Medved hit the barrier a little bit. I couldn't tell if that was just a server connection thing, but it did look like he just barely nicked the edge of the barrier. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, there was a bit of jump there from Medved, but I think Leglaf has just made an absolutely brilliant move around the outside, and props to him because he is up to P5 and absolutely has great pace at the moment, to be honest. I think he's going to catch up to Ruben and Romse in a short period of time.
Definitely, and it seems that Leglaf really likes that overtaking position. I guess he's got this little party trick that he likes to use. He's recognized it and has been utilizing it, because that's the second time I've seen him overtake someone at that same spot.
Yeah, it is. And speaking of overtaking, Timo Braun has managed to climb his way back up to the P1 position. Well, he's not in P1, but he's managed to get right up behind Levi Zanto. We could be seeing an epic battle unfold right here, guys.
Definitely, both very, very fast drivers. Timo is just needs to, hit the front of his car right up as close as he can and just keep it there. And either he can wait for. Looks like Jurgen Visser has disconnected from the server, unfortunately. I think that was probably intentional, because he probably suffered quite a bit of damage.
Well, it seemed like he just pulled over. I saw it in the background when we looked at the cars on the street. It seems like he just pulled over, so maybe there was some sort of mechanical issue somewhere that he was unaware about, that suddenly came out of nowhere. But that is unfortunate for Visser, as he has to retire from this race. But that does not mean the race will not continue for any of the other drivers, as Timo Braun is right up behind Levi Zanto. And this battle is getting hotter and hotter. We're only 9 laps in, so we still have about 20... Sorry, let me just quickly do some maths here. I can't do the maths. We still have about 27 laps to go of this race. And yeah, this is definitely not over yet at all. So stay tuned, folks. This is going to be a great battle till the finish.
So we're seeing some most gaps. It looks like Antoine Olive is starting to get pretty close to Medved. Gasper Medved. Leglaf into the pits. I wonder if that's... Oh! Leglaf getting a drive-through penalty for speeding, going into the pits. So that's going to be really hard on him. He's going to have to serve that at some point, which is... He's done a phenomenal job so far in this race, so that's really unfortunate that he gets that drive-through penalty for speeding. But going to the pits, you really do have to be careful, because if you're not at the speed, I think it's 60 or 80 kilometers an hour, then you're going to get that drive-through penalty for speeding. We've seen it time and time again during this season, just drive-through penalties for speeding, they do really got to be careful that they go into the pits at the current pit speed limiter, because I mean, Assetto Corsa does have a built-in pit limiter, but in order to prevent people from just, full throttling it into the pits and then letting the automated system take control, we do want them to slow down to that pit speed before actually entering the pits. So that is why we are seeing these drive-through penalties for pit speed limiting, or breaking the speed limit.
Yeah, it's another feature of that real penalty system we have enabled, and that is also what allows us to have the safety car. So it is good fun to drive with, especially for leagues. It makes the racing just so much easier to keep clean and nice and all that stuff. But Timo Braun only 3/10 behind Levi Zanter now. Is he going to use his push to pass? I don't think he is. I think he's just waiting patiently, and that is Timo's game. He likes to be patient. He built up a reputation a few years ago of not being able to overtake because he was too patient, but I do believe that's changed a little bit now. So Timo, the non-overtaker, is he able to overtake Levi Zanto? Because it looks like Zanto gets a better exit than him in turn 1, and is just able to build that gap he needs in order for Timo not to get that slipstream, to get close enough to try and make a move into the chicane. But yeah, I think it's definitely a strategy game at the moment, and we'll have to see which one of these drivers dives into the pit lane first.
Very true. And, all of these drivers are very close in skill with one another, but just seeing even the slightest skill difference between Levi and Timo, they have a 3-second, they're fighting each other, and they still have a 3-second gap between them and Ruben van der Hutting and the rest of the pack. So that is just so cool to see that these guys are just rocketing away, almost like our own community's version of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, not to be cringy or anything.
Yeah, no, I respect the not to be cringy message, but I understand exactly what you're on about. It looks like Zanto has gotten a better run this time around. Timo is not going to be able to get close enough. However, Romse on the back of Van der Hutting has closed up a little bit now, so he might have the pace to try and pick up that last podium spot. Only 3/10 behind him now, 2/10, 1/10. Is he able?
Like he got a really good exit. He's
Oh, that was brilliant defending
right
from
at
Ruben.
the last second. Yeah.
He goes to the middle of the track. Romse has nowhere to go, and he has to stay behind him for now, basically for the whole lap. I don't think there's really any other overtaking opportunities. Romse, that was a good chance he had there, and he wasn't able to make it. Ruben doing just what he needed to do to stay ahead, and that was a great fight in between those two, and I don't think this one's over. There is definitely more in these two drivers, that is for sure.
P10 and P9 also very close together. Chumley at one point was only a thousandth of a second behind George Ioannidis.
Ioannidis, yeah.
And now he's side by side now going into the fast chicane. We see Chumley is in front, and he's able to overtake him for P9.
A brilliant move there by Chumley. It was basically a carbon copy of what Leglaf did on Medved earlier in the race, but that was definitely really well done, and now he's going to hope he doesn't get taken out yet again, but it looks like he's already built enough of a gap that that's not going to happen anymore. So a great move there from Chumley as he's tried to make his comeback, and if there's no safety car, this is going to be a really hard journey for him. But he is on the alternates as well, which is quite an interesting strategy. But anyway, speaking of interesting things happening on track, Timo has managed to close the gap to Levi Zanto. Is this the move that is going to put him into P1? Tries to do what Chumley did. Levi Zanto covers off the inside. Timo backs out of it, and he's not able to get ahead. So Levi Zanto stays in P1 position for now, but they are looking ever so more racing than they have been. Timo is getting sort of desperate for that P1 position now.
Yeah, we saw an amazing job of Levi Shanto closing that door, just placing his car exactly where it needed to be to prevent Timo behind sticking his nose in where Levi doesn't want it. And, something as well that we need to think about is Timo is very stressed out right now, trying to get out around Levi and trying to get that position. Just a side note, Leglaf has gone to drive-through. Oh, he has taken his drive-through penalty.
Yeah.
He didn't get a new one. That would have been unfortunate. But also Levi himself. I was just in a race yesterday where I had to defend my P1 position for half the race, and it's a whole new level of tension. You're always looking at your rearview mirror. You're always just thinking, okay, where is he? You know, you want to be faster than the guy behind you, but you don't want to overdo it where you're going to make a mistake. And that's exactly what Timo is hoping that he does. Timo wants to be there when he makes a mistake, be in the right position when he makes a mistake, in order to capitalize on it and then overtake him.
Yeah, that is definitely the case, and fighting for P1 is always just a bit more nerve-wracking than any other position. But while that was happening, Romse picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So that battle between him and Van der Hooding basically cancelled out right there and then. And that is kind of heartbreaking for Romse, as he was on for a really good position in this race.
Definitely, and we see about half the grid, with all of the unfortunate stuff that's happened to them. We see a 23-second gap between McCormick and Olive, a 12-second gap between Chumley and Ramsa, and a 13-second gap between Leglaf and Chumley. And for Ionadis, I'll get it right one day.
Oh, Timo's into the pits. Gap. Sorry, Timo goes into the pits now, and he is going to be trying the undercut. Someone reset there. Ionadis back to the pits. He DNFs for some reason, so he's had enough of this race. I believe he's had maybe some issues. This is going to be really close. Is Timo able to produce the outlap he needs to get in front of Levi Santo? But you need to keep in mind that there are no tire warmers in this, so he will have to some pretty well, short tires, I would say. Well, not short, but they won't feel great for the first 2 laps of this race. And he managed to get out the pits again. Looks like he stayed on the alternate tire. So Levi Santo, where is he going to come out? Sorry, that's not the right part. Where is Levi Santo? Is he going to pit now, or is he going to extend this a little bit longer? Because if he extends too long, Timo Braun will have the undercut on him.
Because also Timo has just a whole bunch of clean air right in front of him. That was kind of the perfect time to pit. I didn't see, there was a good 5 seconds at least of no cars in front of him. So very good job on Timo's. Ramsey has taken his drive-through penalty. Okay, good. Yeah, good job on Timo for knowing when to pit. Because, you know, these drivers, they don't have a team behind them, like in real life, telling them when to pit. While they're racing, they have to be thinking about their own pit strategy, and they're the ones making those decisions.
Yeah.
So, you know...
Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue, John.
It's just... It's that much more that these guys got to worry about when they're racing.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's quite tricky to balance all of it while you're racing, especially for P1. And Santo has decided to stay out, and looks like Timo's gap is closing ever so slightly. Santo might be losing out of position here, but he might be also trying to go for a little bit for the long game here. Timo Braun is still on the alternate tire, so he's decided to go for 2 times alternates, which means he will still have to pit yet again for the prime tire. I don't know if Santo is waiting to a safety car or something, but Timo is going to get the undercut him. He's going to get P1, but Santo might be trying a one-stopper here, so that could be quite interesting to see how that unfolds. While that was happening, Leglaf getting lapped again as he goes into the pits for the 3rd time this race. It's not had the greatest race, to be honest. It's been a bit unfortunate, and the safety car has not really been deployed to help them either, as there was that contact with Chumley and Ioannidis, who's now the DNF from the race, but that contact was not enough to warrant a safety car.
Yeah, and I think, talking about Ioannidis real quick, I think the reason why he DNF'd is because he hit the wall. I saw his name go red, which means, you know, contact.
Speaking of hitting the wall, we were on board with Sam, and he spins it on the curb. Manages to keep it out the wall, but that was a huge slide from Sam Chumley, and he's going to get overtaken by Rumsey if he's not careful. Gets the car pointing in the right direction again, but oh man, that was a sketchy moment from Sam. He was catching up to Anton Oliva, and he loses about 7 seconds by doing that mistake. Rumsey is right up behind him now. Sorry Sam, that was caught on stream.
Now his reputation is forever marked.
Sam the Spinner Chumley. Having a good time as always in these IndyCars. They are super fun to drive though, but it doesn't take much and you are around, which is why they're quite difficult to do a full race in as well. But Romza, only 6 tenths behind, wasn't really able to get ahead of Chumley as it stands. Chumley had time to get his car to turn the right direction again. Excuse me for that. And it looks like, I'm just quickly looking at the gap between Timo Braun and Santo. It looks like Timo is going to get an undercut on Levi Santo.
How long is the pit stops for this track? I'm not actually.
I don't know, but we're about to find out as Levi Santo comes into the pit lane. Pit limiter is on. He doesn't get a drive-through, so where is he going to come out in comparison to Timo? I'm going to have a look at the track map, try and see who is where. As
Ruben van Hutting as well.
Yeah, Van der Hutting also in the pits. Maybe he's trying to do some sort of overcut, or he's just following Levi Santo. But that means Medved will be promoted to P1 currently, and you see Timo Braun. He is on the track map. He's coming around the second final corner. He's around the final corner now. Onto the start-finish straight. You'll see his car in the background there. Where is Levi Santo going to come out? Timo's blasting down the straight. Santo's pit stop's not even over yet. Now he's finished, but I think it's too late. Timo Braun already ahead by the end of the corner. He's miles ahead now, actually. Santo comes out 3 to 4 seconds behind him. He has to warm up his tires as well. So this might actually be close between Van der Hutting and McCormack. McCormack has already been in the pits once, so he might have actually had a brilliant strategy turn out for him. And going from being taken out into the top 3 net position as it stands, but he has a different pit strategy, of course. McCormack manages to get past Van den Hutting in the pit lane, so brilliant race from him so far, considering his difficulties at the start of the race.
Yeah, what a good call from Timo. There's a 3.6 second gap between him and Levi Santo. And, this isn't race over because we're not even, let's see, we're just about over half the race, but we still have to think that we still have one more pit stop to go, at least for Timo. Let's see what...
That is the thing, though. I think Santo has gone for a 1-stopper and Timo has gone for a 2-stopper. McCormack on those prime towers with a little bit of a lock-up there as we go on board with him. Van der Hutting goes through up to P3, so McCormack struggling on those 18-lap old tires there. That was a bit of an unfortunate incident there, but yeah, he does manage to fall behind Van der Hutting, so that is not ideal for him, but he will have to do another pit stop. Medved now into pit stop. I think Timo might have shot himself in the foot here by going in so early. This is probably could have been a 1-stop race, but he's making it a 2-stopper. Oh, leg lap as he gets a drive-through penalty yet again and instantly decides to, you know what, it's not worth driving anymore. This car is broken, heads back to the pit lane and retires from the session.
Yeah, well, that's very unfortunate. Leglaf has just been getting, hit in the back over and over this race, but he was doing quite an incredible job of overtaking and, at least on the track, keeping it clean. I guess he's not used to the pit entry here, but yeah, he was doing a very good job doing this race until this DNF.
Yeah, it is a bit unfortunate indeed, and I just noticed Gasper Medved manages to get out in P4, so he manages to jump McCormack as well. So he's right up behind Van der Hutting. This could be quite a good battle between Van der Hutting and Medved at the end of the race, although it looks like Van der Hutting does have a bit more pace as it stands. As Medved still has to heat up those tires. Keep in mind there's no tire warmers, so it takes about 2 laps until those tires are in prime position. Speaking of prime tires, Timo on the prime tires, or alternates as they're also known as, 5 seconds ahead of Santo. He needs to build that gap much longer if he is to win this race, because he is doing a 2-stopper. Everyone else behind him, Santo, Van der Hutting, Medved, they're all doing 1-stoppers. As McCormack does pull into the pit lane, he is finishing his stint now as he had that safety car. So he will probably drop to the back of the field yet again. That is his stint over, and he will be hoping for another safety car, because I think Timo will be hoping for one as well, but that is unfortunate for him as he is on just the wrong strategy at the moment. But Medved, 1.5 seconds behind Van der Hutting, has been doing a great race so far.
Yeah, and either way, even if he has the fuel to finish the race, he still has to pit because he hasn't used the primaries yet. He's only been using the alternates to this race, and they do have to use both compounds. So if there's a late safety car, Timo is not going to be happy. That kind of negates his entire tactic here. So he's got to hope for everyone else to have a clean race so that he can keep his strategy up and slowly get that gap bigger and bigger between him and Levi, which is happening, but I think it's got to be a faster pace than what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Right now it's...
Sorry, I'm just looking in the chat and looks like Visser says his brake pedal has done the death. So it looks like he just had a brake failure and had to retire because of that. And yeah, there's not much else happening in the chat at the moment as no one's watching. But Medved P4, Olive P5. He came out of nowhere, sort of. He was a little bit not there, but then Chumley was gaining on him, and then Chumley spun, and now Chumley's gaining on him again. But Antoine Olive, all he needs to do is keep it ahead of Chumley, and we'll probably get a pretty solid points finishing position here.
Definitely, and yeah, it's the racers for this. The drivers for this race are slowly getting fewer and fewer as we are getting these DNFs. It's right now we're down to 8 people actually racing, which is pretty unfortunate. We're seeing a lot of hardware issues as well throughout this this season, and also the ACC season as well. So I guess it's just not a good time for hardware.
Yeah, it must be something in the air or something. I don't know what it is, but we had 2 drivers before the race whose PCs just completely broke down, and we also had Fisser and Ionides who had hardware issues, which caused them to DNF as well. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there as Chumley decides to go back into the pits. I just realized he was on the alternate tires, so he might not have been on the prime tires yet this race, and this is his time to swap over to those and maybe try and get some positions somehow and hope for a safety car. So the worst thing that can happen for Timo is Romsey gets another drive-through for cutting the track. Oh, that is devastating.
Yikes. Yeah, drive-throughs are quite the penalty. They are very much, especially in these shorter, 1 hour races, they are very much kind of race defining sometimes.
Yeah, that is for sure the case. And if anyone's wondering if they're coming from F1 or something, these penalties are if you do 4 off tracks, that the game counts as an off track with an advantage. You get 4 of those, and after you've done your 4th one, you get a drive-through instantly. So it's not like F1 game where you do 3 and you get 3 seconds. It's more like ACC where you get 4, and that is your drive-through. However, the track limits are a little bit more lenient in an F1 game, so before you think it's very harsh, it's not that harsh. It's only happened to 2 drivers so far in this race, and that is because turn 1 is easy to extend, but most of the time these drivers avoid getting these track limits. So,
and Romsey has DNF'd from the race as well.
Yeah, so I can imagine that is him hanging up his helmet for today and saying, oh, well, 2 drive-throughs in a race, that's not going to end in good positions.
Yeah. So the drivers are slowly whittling down.
Slowly but surely, it's going to become a top 5 shootout at the end. Hopefully that's not the case, but yeah, there's only so much that we can control, which is a bit a shame really, because you get points all the way up until if you finish P20. So every single driver today could have finished the race and gotten points for it. And as we know, every single point counts in the championship. Man, this gap between Bron and Zanto is quite interesting actually. He has to build it Just Timo's got a huge job in his hands right now, I can tell, and he is going to be kicking himself with his pit strategy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, you choose a strategy, you have to commit to it, and it's the right one or it's the wrong one. You know, it all depends on what your opponent's doing, and you can't really, most of the time at least, they're not nice enough to just tell you what they're gonna do. But yeah, you just gotta go with your gut.
Yeah, and Timo's guts is not very good, as we've seen before.
Levi Shanto, drive-through penalty for cutting.
Oh, that is actually huge for Timo's luck right now. So Timo will have seen that message, and he will be grinning from side to side behind that helmet. Levi Zanto basically throws away a win by getting a drive-through for track limits, and only 12 laps to go. Is heartbreaking.
That is sad. Yep.
Yeah. This might actually, though, promote Van den Houding up to P2, and with this battle going on between Van den Houding and Medved, we could be having a pretty nice finish to this race between these two drivers. Now all Timo needs to do is go into those pits, get onto those prime tires, and as Levi gets a drive-through, oh man, everyone's getting drive-throughs at the moment. I mean, it's the same as ACC, and this track is, I guess, it's just easy to get track limits on. It also sort of shows people, the more you practice, the more you know where the limits are to get a drive-through. And I guess people just haven't practiced too much for this race this weekend. But Antoine Levi as well serves his drive-through now. He might come out right in front of McCormack. We could be seeing a pretty spicy battle between those as well. He's been in no man's land sort of throughout the whole race, but someone who's not in no man's land is Medved. Is he going to be close enough to make a move on Van den Houding? No, he's not. But now he has to think about behind him, because Zanto, he has pretty good pace. And he is going to come up behind them, and this is going to be a three-way battle for P2.
Yeah, and both of them just took their drive-through penalties, so those are all clear and done. You really you want to take your drive-through penalty as quickly as possible, especially when you're this far in the race. If it's the beginning of the race, you might want to wait it out. I don't know if there's like a lap limit to how long you can wait for your drive-through penalty, but yeah, you want to have as little consequences as possible when doing a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it's not the worst on this track. It is quite a long pit lane though, but it only costs you about 20 seconds, give or take, and I think that's what it's cost Santo. Santo is lapping quite a bit faster than the other two drivers ahead. You see the gap closing down pretty quickly. He's going to catch up to this battle soon. Just right on board with him for a moment. Just have a look at this Toyota livery. I quite liking it. His helmet fits it as well. It's just a really nice livery to drive with. You see the texture there on the front as well. This car is quite nice, and Levi Santo saying the livery means a lot to him, as apparently the first league race he won was with a Toyota and F1 car, so he got a bit of a personal touch there. He also loves Japan as a whole, so that's quite nice to see him represent his character through this livery. But this battle between Medved and Van den Houding is not dying down anytime soon. I think we could see Zanto get past both these two drivers by the end of the race if he keeps this up.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to when Timo is gonna pit, because we have about 12
just as
left.
You say that, he decides to go to the pits. So Timo is now into the pit lane. He's gonna swap onto the prime tires, and he's gonna race to the end of the race. He's gonna be super thrilled that Zanto got that drive-through penalty, because that basically secured him that P1 spot, even though he was on the weaker strategy.
Yeah, and no drive-through penalty for him for speeding the pit lane either, so that's always good to see.
Well, actually, wait, hold up. Oh, this is going to be really close. Coming out of the pit lane now is Timo, as actually Van den Houding manages to get past us, so does Medved. Does Zanto get past as well? Yes, he does. Timo Braun has had a stinker of a pit stop. He's added way too much fuel in the car. I thought he would have less fuel. He's come out in P4, so he's lost 3 positions to that pit stop. He would have done anyways, but oh man, this is going to be thrilling finish to this race. And Medved right up behind Van der Hooding. Is he able to make a race pass? No, he's not. Van der Hooding leads the Watkins Glen Grand Prix.
What a turn of events. We were all thinking that Timo was going to just have a nice, safe return to the racetrack after the pit stop. But no, he gets overtaken by 3 different people. Now P1 all the way through P4 covered off by about 3-4 seconds. Which, yeah. So, oh man. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. That's just unfortunate for Timo, but Van der Hooding has got to be very pleasantly surprised.
I think his pressure just turned up another level right there. He was fighting for P2 position. Now he's fighting for the P1 position. He's having a look at the rear wing of Medved. Medved is super close. He goes into pit lane, I think. Van der Hooding goes into the pit lane. Is he running out of fuel? Is he not going to be able to make it? So he's doing his second stop. So I'm not sure if he only stopped about 10 laps ago, so he's just underfueled or something. So Van der Hooding goes into pit lane. That is another turn of events. I did not expect that. Medved leads the race. Zanto 1 second behind him. Timo Braun 2 seconds behind Zanto.
And Zanto needs to be careful with that turn 1 track limits, because I was on board with him and he was very close. He doesn't want to get another drive-through.
Yeah, that is for sure something he's going to want to work on. But they do reset, so you can get 4 more track limits after you serve your drive-through. But it would be a shame if it all comes down to a drive-through costing them yet again the battle of this race. But that I did not expect Van der Hooding to go into pit there. I thought he had enough fuel to finish the race.
Yeah, and something else is Timo, even though he's P3 right now, he's going to have the fresher tires of the 2 for the rest of the race, which is still 10 laps to go.
Yeah, that is going to be a big factor at the end of this race. Timo Braun is also slowly but surely catching up to these guys around. He just needed his tires to get into that heat cycle, and once they do, he is unleashing the power of that Chevrolet engine in his BMW liveried Indycar. And oh, actually, wait, Medved and Zanto go to the pits. Oh, well.
Whoa.
Well, I guess there was a 2-stopper after all.
Yeah.
Well,
possibly just for fuel.
Yeah, it could be, but it takes longer to refuel this. So actually, never mind. Oh, that's really killed the excitement.
Wow. And yeah, Medved switching to alternates, which understandably there's only 10-9 laps left, and Levi, I don't think he switched tires.
He went to primes, and Medved actually jumps out in front of Van der Hooding. So Van der Hooding's outlap has not been the greatest. So Medved manages to get ahead of him in that time, but Medved now has to heat up his tires. Zanto 1 second behind Van der Hooding, down in P4, still on the prime tires.
Massive 21-second gap between Timo and Medved. Timo could almost pit again.
Well, we saw earlier that the 27 seconds was just not enough. I think he needed about a 30 seconds gap. But I do wonder if they were running out of fuel or something, because they all pitted. So
yeah,
maybe it wasn't a one-stopper after all. Maybe we miscalculated a few things. We do apologize. It can happen. But I thought since they pitted lap 19, surely halfway through the race they'd have enough fuel to go to the end. But I guess not. Maybe the safety car helped a little bit with the fuel saving, so they could go a little bit longer than they expected. But here we are, Timo Braun leading by 20 seconds, which wouldn't have been the case had Levi Zanto not gone that drive-through penalty.
Definitely. And the only thing that could make this an even crazier race is if we see Timo dive into the pits again, and that would just...
Oh.
I mean, hopefully not commentator's curse.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
So Timo, don't get that drive-through. Is all we ask. As Antoine Olive pits again, so I wonder if that was this is his second pit stop. Yeah, it's quite interesting. So these cars run out of fuel faster than I thought they would.
They are very thirsty engines.
Quite thirsty boys. Turbocharged American engines. You know, what you call it gasoline, we call it petrol. It's pretty cheap over there. Still today, it's even with the price increases, it's very cheap compared to what it is in Europe. So they can afford to run these engines like this.
Yeah, you know, especially with their high ethanol
Percentage, I guess.
percentage. Yeah. I was gonna say ethanol count, but that doesn't make sense. But yeah, no, these are very, very rich petrol.
American discovers European or sorry, British English. Oh, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation for another day, I think. But it's great that the whole world can come together and talk about IndyCar for a few hours. I think it's really good fun. But anyways, and it's the beauty of sim racing as well. You can do it wherever you are in the world at the same time. So another great thing about it.
Definitely.
Anyways, go on.
I feel bad. I feel bad being basically the only American here, but I don't even watch IndyCar. I am way more familiar with Formula One. But you know, IndyCar is I'm seeing a little bit more of it just because Formula One or ex-Formula One driver now Romain Grosjean has moved over to IndyCar, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, he's been decently successful, hasn't he? I think he's had 1 or 2 podiums or something like that.
Yeah, he's done a really good job, especially with his injury, which he actually just got, I think, like his 11th or 10th surgery on. If you're familiar with the huge accident that happened last year in his last Formula One race.
Yeah, it was quite a shock indeed when that happened, but yeah, he managed to survive it, and here he is today racing IndyCar, and I think he's actually enjoying himself more than he has been in the past few years in that Haas team. So it's good to see him smiling again. I think that's also something not to discount. IndyCar is just a bit more mechanical, a bit more, I guess you can say, race car feeling, whereas F1 is very technical and fuel savvy strategy, all that stuff, whereas IndyCar is just go balls to the wall for the next 100 laps you have to do and then have fun.
Yeah, very true. And I think Formula One is a little bit more political as well, with how they do everything. Something that I saw Roman talking about was how even mechanics from other teams will come over and help a team if they're like not going to be able to do something on time, or just the camaraderie that you see between teams that sometimes you don't even find within the same team in F1 is pretty special to IndyCar.
Yeah, it's quite nice to see people help each other out. I mean, F1 is so competitive that any help from the outside is basically unthinkable. But anyways, here we have Sam Chumley. Is he able to make a run on Pixel? It looks like he's got the run on him already. He's going to be able to do the overtake before the chicane. Pixel it might have been too soon. If he slots back into slipstream, he might get a great run here. Try and do a move up the inside. Does he do it? No, he doesn't. So Sam Chumley, brilliant run through turn 1. Gets his way up to P5. And he now has that position to maintain until the end of the race. If they have to pit stop again, I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see. But Anton Olive, while that was happening, is actually catching up to Forrest McCormack.
Yeah, and we can't really look at their pit stop count to see if they need a pit, because we've had so many drive-thrus that it kind of throws everything off.
Yeah, indeed.
And Medved doing a fastest lap of the session, a 1:25.418.
I believe that's,
so he's really.
I believe purple is actually fastest personal best, but still he's flying.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't look like the gap is closing up too much between him and Timo, but they're still giving it their all, because he does have Ruben van Hutting right behind him and Levi Zanto right behind him.
Indeed, yeah, and I think Zanto is just getting ever so slightly closer on those prime tires as well. It's quite impressive, but I do think it's a matter of time before Van den Hutting has to defend from Zanto. I'm also quickly keeping an eye on the gap between McCormack and Olive, as Olive does seem to be closing that gap. We might see him go for a move soon. But until then, let's go on board with Levi Zanto, see what he is doing throughout the corners to try and catch up to Medved. You can see the car washing out in the slipstream, or the dirty air as we call it, and it seems to be quite a struggle for him a little bit. You see that they need that downforce to be able to take the corners. These cars are naturally understeery, but they're still super good fun to drive, and they're quite different from F1, but they feel very intuitive to drive and still very mechanical. But Arizanto 6 tenths behind Van der Hooding. Van der Hooding only 4 tenths behind Medved. Medved had a bit of a stinker that lap, not gonna lie. He's 5 tenths slower than Van der Hooding. He might actually be in a little bit of trouble now. If Van der Hooding uses his push to pass, he could potentially get his way past Medved, or it looks like Medved's used his to defend from Van der Hooding, so I guess maybe not. I guess they cancel each other out. We'll have to
with 4 laps left. 4 laps left. If you have any more push to passes, you know, now's the time to use it. You do not want to finish this. Oh, Levi Zanto taking a lot of those curbs. Even Van der Hooding in front of him, getting a little twitchy with the throttle. Looks like he got some. Oh, Forrest McCormick hit with a drive-through penalty for speeding.
Yeah, so McCormick did dive back into the pits. That is why he got that drive-through penalty. That is unfortunate indeed. But yeah, these drivers pushing to the absolute limits.
Yeah, and you were talking about the similarities and differences between these cars and Formula One cars. These cars, even though they look very similar and they use similar mechanics when it comes to aerodynamics and stuff like that, you know, sticking to the ground and all that. Formula One cars are a lot more, like you say, technical, and it's almost easier to drive Formula One cars. Actually, I would say it's much easier. And these Indy cars, you really have to muscle the car around the track a lot more. It's a lot more of a physical thing for the steering and all of that. Even though it's still extremely physical for Formula One, at least in real life, these cars, their steering is a lot harsher, and you get a lot more feedback through the steering from the ground.
Yeah, and F1 runs with a little bit of power steering, so it just makes it a little bit easier for the driver to turn the car around in the corners, whereas IndyCar doesn't run with that. Zanto actually goes a little. These guys are jumping all over the curbs, and he got pretty close there to Van der Hooding on that lap. But this is pretty intense. All these drivers pushing to the absolute limits. Hopefully, we're not going to see a drive-through from any of them.
Yeah, and you know, when you're pushing this hard, you're either going to get a huge benefit from it, finding time in places you didn't know that there was time, or you could make a detrimental mistake. And so, you know, you really have to teeter that edge, as we were seeing sparks flying off of the bottoms of these cars over the rumble strips. But yeah, he's getting very close, Levi, to Ruben and Medved. This is going to be a very, very, very close finish to the race.
So 2 laps left of the race now. Zanto is 4 tenths behind Van der Hooding. Van der Hooding is 5 tenths behind Medved. It's all about the exit in turn 1 is Forrest McCormick. Gets another drive-through. I don't know, or does he? Oh no, he's just got his drive-through. He comes right in between Medved and Van der Hooding. He's got blue flags, so he has to get out the way. That might have helped Medved a little bit to stay ahead, as you see there on the camera. He is trying to get out the way. Zanto has to go up the inside into the chicane to try and navigate his way around Pixel. And if there is a place that you don't want to come out from the drive-through, it is right in that spot. And Pixel managed to nail it perfectly to be in the worst position coming out the pit lane. You see Medved up ahead, sliding around a little bit, and sparks flying everywhere. This driver, he is pushing to his limits, and it is great fun to see.
Definitely, and that was actually Forrest McCormick. Just for clarification, if you're watching this, it was Forrest McCormick taking his drive-through penalty, so he no longer has to serve one.
There you go, and my penalty is a little bit too far on the right, so it cuts off on the screen. It's set up for my ultra-wide monitor, not my my 24-inch monitor, but which I'm streaming on. So I have to fix that for the next race before I start streaming that one. But look at how close these drivers are. I think it's a matter of time. McCormack also has pretty good pace. He can keep up with them, but he doesn't want to get involved in this, as that could cause huge implications in the championship with these drivers ahead. And he is allowed to unlap himself. That is allowed, but it's just a bit unsportsmanlike to do while they're all racing. 2 laps to go. Who is going to come out ahead? And I think I already know something. Zanto.
Levi. Yep.
On the back of Van der Hooding. Van der Hooding goes defensive very early, but Zanto has to take it around the outside. Does he get far enough ahead to take this corner up the inside? He does around the outside. Similar move to Chumley and Legler. He makes a stick. Van der Hooding down to P4, loses down that position, so Zanto up to P3. He's got Medved in his sights. He has 2 laps to do it. Will he be able to take that P2 spot?
That was an incredible overtake from the, if you look on board of Levi, that was a really exciting overtake from his halo cam. And here I think he's just gotta play it safe, and just in case Medved makes a mistake, he has to be there for it. But other than that, I think he's good to take P3. But that's him taking a
Sorry, Van der Hooding in the background into the wall. You saw that right there. So he is crushed. Got some wing damage there, so he's definitely gonna finish in the P4 position now. But that is besides the point. Levi Zanto, is he able to do it? He's close enough to Medved. Is he going to get him on the final lap? We'll have to see at the exit of turn 1. It's going to be super close. Let's jump on board with Zanto. He looks close enough, and definitely looks like he can get the run. Does he have a push to pass? Or does Medved have one as well to defend from it? Doesn't look like he's gaining as quickly, but he's still gaining in that slipstream. This is basically his last chance. Medved defending the inside as hard as he can. Zanto pulls out to the outside. Who's going to be the last of late breakers? Zanto has to back out of it, but Medved goes a little bit deep. Is he able to stay ahead? Yes, he does. Zanto stays in P3. Medved manages to defend his position perfectly, and that, I think, was the last chance for Zanto, but we never know. Medved still has a half a lap to go to keep this car on the track and ahead of Zanto. This race is not over yet.
Definitely not. What an exciting final few laps that between P2, 3, and 4, as we see Timo Brown coming up, taking that final turn to win the race at Watkins Glen for the 2S AC IndyCar Championship. What a great drive from Timo and all of the other drivers. Here we see Medved, 22 seconds. Oh! Who is that? Someone hitting the wall. I think it might have, yeah, it was Forrest.
But yeah, we see Zanto trying his absolute hardest to get past, but it's not enough. Too little too late. Zanto goes P3, Pixel crashes on the start-finish straight. Medved is P2, Zanto P3, Van der Hooding crosses line in P4. Pixel McCormack spins around before crossing the line in P7. He's not happy with his performance. What a finish that was. Medved from P6 up to P2. Absolute brilliant drive by the Twingo driver himself. He must be absolutely ecstatic. Here we have Chumley and Levy still on track. Chumley, obviously with the early crash that brought out the safety car, has not had the greatest races. But it just seems so calm in these cockpits compared to the race we just saw. But yeah, Chumley crosses the line in P5 with Antoine Olive in the four-colored or quad-colored beer livery car, crossing the line in P6, and that is the last of your finishes today. So P1 goes to Timo Braun, followed by Medved, then Zanto, then Van der Hooding, Chumley, Olive, and then McCormack, with Romse, Leglaf, Ioannidis, and Fischer DNFing from the race. What a finish that was!
That was very, very exciting, very tense, very stressful, but that's what racing should be. And, you know, that last overtake of Levi Shanto taking Venda Hudding, I think it was Venda Hudding, I think, yeah. On that straight, that was just so tight. And, you know, that was an incredible ballsy move from Levi, and great job to the top 3 finishers.
Yeah, we had Timo Braun doing his best cosplay right here of crashing into the wall. His tires are pointing in the wrong direction, but that is a celebratory crash across the line. You can't do that in sim racing, as the screen fades to black, and that is the scene. Let's transition to the interviews, but what a race that was. I'm not sure if we will have interviews. That is another thing, but yeah, I don't know if I want to or anything, but yeah, that is what a finish to a race that was. Even though we didn't have the most amount of drivers, I still thoroughly enjoyed that race to watch and commentate, of course, with you, John.
Definitely, yeah, that was a really fun race. We did have a few DNFs, but there's always, you know, next week, and there's always more opportunities for them. Great job to all the drivers. Thank you again for commentating with me as well. I had a blast, and catch you guys next week.
Yeah, guys, that is us for this round at Watkins Glen. It's absolutely amazing race. We're not going to have any interviews today, but yeah, hopefully there'll be more attendance next week. And For the guys watching back, you guys did an amazing job, Medved. I am sure you'll be absolutely thrilled bringing your Renault Twingo up to that P2 position. And Timo Braun, congratulations on the win, followed by Levi Zanto, P3. Unlucky with the drive-through, but what a race you put on for us there at the end. So thank you guys to the people who watched and commented in chat. Remember to like and subscribe. Also, join us on Sunday, which will be at 6:30 p.m. CET. That will be Tier 1 F1. And then after that, Monday, ACC at 7:30 p.m. Same time as this. And then Tuesday, we have Tier 2 for F1. So